Welcome to our open tabs. Play the music. Woot toot! Woot toot! That's great.
Welcome to our open tab.
Yeah, we think this is our name.
We think so.
I think we're gonna stick with it.
You guys have known this for at least 2 episodes, but we haven't. So we're excited.
It's been a long journey because somehow people took our names. I was like, this is very rude.
It was pretty. I'm gonna say passive aggressive is like the nicest way I can describe that.
Honestly, come to my face and tell me. I had to Google to find out.
How dare you?
The audacity.
I know. But I'm glad that we've caught up with our listeners in the past. I feel like we're in a weird time-space continuum right now because you guys have known this, but we haven't, and now we know, and so you know that we know that we know.
What timeline is this?
I don't know. I feel like I'm in a multiverse right now.
We are.
I'm just glad that our timelines have synced back up at this point.
Together.
How are you doing, Jess?
I'm all right.
Mm-hmm.
That job is jobbing, life is lifing, and I'm like,
you're a productivity queen though now. I'm very jealous.
I mean, I've been better than I have in the past because I'm less likely to do things after I get off work. So that an hour and a half in the morning, life-changing.
I don't have that kind of discipline because Jess has started actually getting up a little bit before she actually has to be at work, which if you work from home is a very hard thing to have the discipline to do.
So this week I did Monday, Tuesday. I didn't do today because I had to go take Nigel to the vet, and then I'll do tomorrow, but not doing Friday. So Friday I'll probably get out of bed at 7:50.
As you should. My alarm is set for 7:58.
I love
so that I can walk from my bedroom to my office and turn on my computer.
I have done that before. Have hit snooze and then it's 7:58. I'm like, because I've been in training, so I have to clock in after I'm out of training next week. It'll just be salary, so I won't have to clock in at a certain time. So probably moseying in about 8:05.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But anyway, How are the kitties? How are you?
They're good. We have a tornado watch tonight, so they can tell something is up.
Oh no.
And so they're extra clingy. So if you see a cat or if you hear a cat desperately trying to get my attention, it's because somehow they think that my much bigger body than theirs, but still relatively peon body against a tornado will protect them. So
mother can protect against all. Hello.
Yeah. I wish, but they're good. They're nuisances, but they're my spoiled lights of my life.
Hey, look, the amount of money we spent on Nigel's vet bill today, I was like, I love you.
Was it a checkup or was it
we got him a dental cleaning.
Oh, wow.
And it was $50 off because of pet dental month, and still was oh my goodness. But I had a really proud dog mom moment. She was like, his teeth look so good. There's no buildup. I was like, I know, girl, because I brush them.
My cats would never. They don't even one of them has started to let me pick him up.
You are honored to carry me, woman.
Well, he's real. They both would enjoy it if they would allow it, but she just will not even entertain it. And he has started letting me do it, and he just sits there and purrs and is so excited the whole time until he realizes that he's being held, and then he's like, let me down. But I'm like, I told you would like this if you would just give in to the snuggles.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I gotta stop picking up Nigel. He is not light, and my back has been killing me.
The French bulldogs are dense little suckers.
Yes. Sometimes when I walk him and he be pulling, I'm like, I'm embarrassed how strong you are.
He's so they are just little balls of muscle. I feel like
he's I keep seeing my toothpaste shirt. I'm sorry. I feel like he looks more of the let's see, what are they for? A lot of the bulldog part. He has a really muscular chest. And yeah, sometimes I'm like, Nigel, be pulling me down the street. This is embarrassing.
He's like secretly hitting the gym when you aren't looking,
He
like
is.
doing those fly pulls to build up.
He does do, sprints in the backyard. I wouldn't be surprised if he's tugging around a weight or something.
Yeah, when you're not looking.
Dangerous.
Yeah. Well, Jess, this is your week, so
finally, I have not dumped salt on my chicken parmesan or did, however, knock over my crystal light as I was trying to find my cord thingy, but I was like, I'm not going to let that derail me this week.
I mean, I would say a spilled crystal light is a far less big of a tragedy than ruined chicken parm.
Just wow. I was like, that could have been my 13th reason.
Yeah, that could have been. I don't think crystal light is though. No, that's like reason number like 3.
Yeah,
that's no. You got some rope.
I'm sad about one less beverage, but I'll be fine.
Yeah. You considering you have 3 at all times, you still have 2 on deck, so you're fine.
I will survive.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week, I don't think it's going to be hard to figure out where it's going, but I feel like this has been heavy on my spirit.
Oh, I mean, okay, so everybody settle in, get your fan out.
Hello, let's go to church. And I'm just like, I need to get this out. But I feel like I say that about everything because every day we're like, did you see this?
I know. Our Voxer chat is just like, have you seen this obscure thing? And the other person's like, yes, I have. Let's talk about it.
I need to know more about it.
I know.
Okay. So this starts, I'm sorry, there's no visual. Just pretend you see a white.
The visual is your beautiful face.
Stump it.
You're glowing. With skin hair. I know, these ring lights, thank God.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, what do Abby Lee Miller of Dance Moms, Teresa Giudice of Real Housewives of New Jersey, and Todd and Julie Chrisley all have in common?
They've all been to jail.
Yeah, scammers. That's where.
Have they all been to jail, or they're all going to jail?
They have been to Abby and Teresa. Todd and Julie are in jail right now.
I am so excited that you're going to explain this because I have seen the Todd Julie Chrisley name out there, but I don't really. The only and I'm afraid to even say this. The only connection that I know of is some sort of tussle they had with Without a Crystal Ball, who is a lot. So
understatement.
That's the only thing I know about them. So I'm very excited for this topic because you're going to teach me.
I'm not surprised because who doesn't the crystal? You know what? I don't want no smoke with that lady.
Yeah. Okay, Jay, leave us alone. You got enough problems.
Truly, please. So scared. I knew my end game, and I was like, how do I get there? And it really is through reality TV scammers who's gone to jail. And so I knew some of these, and then I realized there were some other ones, and they all have like a common crime, which is usually some kind of fraud and tax evasion.
It does seem to be a specialty, and I can't tell if it, like, I'm not sure which direction the cause is. Like, is it that you get on TV and you decide to do tax evasion, or are you the kind of person who's been doing tax evasion, and that's the personality that wants to be on reality TV? It's hard to say.
This needs to be researched.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to table that, come back to it. So when I was looking, because trust me, this is not the exhaustive list of reality TV stars who've been to jail, but these are the ones with the more common theme. Yeah. So I didn't know Abby Lee Miller had gone. I stopped watching Dance Moms many moons ago because it was too much. But she had bankruptcy fraud. I was like, what?
Oh, really?
Why, ma'am? And then apparently also something from, she brought $120,000 into the U.S. from Australia, but didn't pay taxes on it, or like didn't declare it. That was, I think, a small thing in comparison to her bankruptcy, but.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never watched Dance Moms, but I've retrospectively watched it because of a video I saw Amanda Beebe doing about Dance Moms. It was a revelation, this video, and I had never seen it before and made me want to go watch it.
It was I know it was. I don't think it's still. Is it still on?
No, it is certainly
Okay.
not still on.
I watched it like the first several seasons, and I just was like, I mean, that's the epitome of like stage mom. Like those. I mean, and some of them are very successful now. So I guess because wasn't JoJo Siwa on there? I think.
Yes, she
So.
was. Yeah. I think we'll have to do an episode at some point about like the ethics of child stardom because I have so many thoughts. And that show is like a great example of
Mm-hmm.
some really fucked up stuff done to children in the name of a paycheck. So,
And it's like, are you doing this for them or for yourself? Like the paycheck for you and like living vicariously through them.
Yeah.
That's hours worth of.
Yeah. We'll probably have like consider this like a teaser for like a series at some point, probably of like all of the different flavors of child exploitation.
Oh,
yeah.
Never ending content though. So Teresa, also her ex-husband now, Joe Judice.
Oh.
Or
Judice.
Juicy Joe.
Oh my God.
They were arrested and both served time for tax evasion and fraud. And he actually got deported.
His ass is back in Italy.
He is. In Italy, you know, maybe that was best for him. And she's got a new man. I think she recently got remarried.
I've not been keeping up with the Jersey Housewives. I used to love it. And Juicy Joe he actually reminds me of a little bulldog. Like his build.
I see it.
Do you know what I mean? Like a much redder,
compact and like. Yeah. I used to love New Jersey when Teresa was literally shaking, turning over tables.
It was popping there I'm gonna say like through when she went to jail.
Yeah.
That era of Jersey was when I was invested.
I think like once Jacqueline left, I can't like she moved or whatever. Yeah. So I feel like the only people I've seen when I see like the promo, I know are Teresa and Melissa, her sister-in-law.
Yeah, and I think it just is like stale at this point for me. Like it also just got too real and too sad what was happening with their family.
Yeah.
But
I just wanted them to be friends and like they don't have to be besties, but I just wanted them to heal. And it seems like they would have some moments and then something would happen because they're, oh my gosh. And anytime I see their children on social media, I'm shocked because I'm like, I remember when you were taught
whole ass young adults,
a grown, like, what's her name? Gia? Her oldest?
Gia.
At college. What?
Gia, I think, can legally drink.
Yes.
And I remember when she was like 9.
Yeah. Melissa's our Antonia. I'm like, what's all this body? Ma'am, you are a child.
It's shocking. And I mean, like, they're beautiful young women. And I wish them all the best because God knows they need it. But it got really dark, but I miss what was her name? Danielle? Yes. Like the original, that whole, and when like she and Caroline had that like face-to-face over dramatic craziness, and she was like,
it was so good.
When I told you were garbage, I meant that you were garbage. I'm like, yes.
The early days were so good. And was it Dina Manzo?
Oh yeah,
Caroline's sister
with that crazy cat, like the little.
Oh my God,
that disgusting. I mean, I love cats. I'm adopting a cat.
The naked
that
one,
cat was nasty. I could smell it. I could smell it through my.
It was a time, and you know what? I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen any kind of shady charges from Melissa and Joe. I don't have any doubt that
wrong.
He has a successful construction business, but
that's the thing. I think with all the scrutiny on that family, my takeaway is surprisingly, I think that he's legit.
Okay.
That's kind of where I shook out with it. Was like, I think by now they probably would have gotten him with all the scrutiny on his sister.
True. So maybe
like I think surprisingly he's legit.
So maybe that was some more tension that he was legit and they weren't.
Yeah. So. I mean, I would say if I'm picking between the Joes, I'm definitely going with Joe Gorga. He loves the gays. He loves putting on like a little thong and shaking it around.
He is a lot.
It's not for me, but I respect it. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
you go,
him
bud.
over the other Joe any day.
Yeah, for sure.
So yes, but they're both free now and living their lives. But more stars. We had Mike Sorrentino, who is from Jersey Shore, also tax evasion, but
Really?
he's now a married man and a father, which really turned himself around from what was he on Jersey Shore? Because I did watch Jersey Shore.
I did not.
I can't remember what the situation. That was his name on Jersey Shore.
The situation.
The situation.
Yeah, I was too Jesus-y for the Jersey
Oh my
Shore.
God, Jim Tan Laundry. So while you were Jesusing, that was like height of my party era. And I didn't want to watch it, but one day I was so hungover. I laid on the couch. I was like, I'm not getting up. And it was on TV. And I was like, I'm not getting up to change it. And I watched like a marathon. And then I was invested.
Yeah. I mean, that's how the best reality TV, you don't feel good that you like it.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they've like recently had like Jersey Shore Home, something in the last couple of years. And I didn't watch that. But the original Jersey Shore, and when they went to Italy, I was watching. Watching all the fights and JWoww, all these names.
Oh yeah, JWoww, Snooki. Like I would recognize this man if you showed me a picture, probably, but I wasn't watching.
Yeah. So, but you know, some of these have made positive. You know, he's turned it around. Married, family man now. Then we have someone we both know, Apollo, who was the husband of our dear Phaedra.
Oh,
from
wow. Yeah,
Atlanta. I knew he went to jail, but I didn't know what he went for. So Apollo was also with fraud. So it was basically like a $2 million fraud and identity theft. Identity theft is a serious crime.
Identity theft is despicable.
Yes. Like, how dare you?
I actually didn't know that, and I think far less of him knowing it now.
It was involving a fake debt collection agency. And I'm like, wow.
That is disgusting.
I mean, defrauding the government, I can look past it.
Honestly, yes. I'm like, I don't think you should.
Yeah. But I get it.
I'm not like morally opposed to it. I think it's like,
I mean, I'm not going to do it because
it's ill-advised.
A person and broke.
Yeah.
But, they're fine.
Yeah.
Regular people.
Granny. Yeah. Or just like, I don't know.
Oh, just you wait. You said little granny?
I know exactly where you're going.
Yes.
But like one of my best friends just got her identity stolen a couple weeks ago because of a leak that wasn't even from a company she was like involved in. It was like selling data. Yeah.
At this point, I think that I've been involved in. There was a leak of literally the state of South Carolina's like Bureau of Finances or something. I'm like, okay, great.
I'm surprised.
Then there was like a T-Mobile leak. I had T-Mobile at the time. I think there was one with Chase. I think there was one with Target. I'm like, okay, well, I just check it every few months and hope for the best.
I know. How am I supposed to live?
Exactly. Like I mean, there ain't much money to be taken, but I need it.
But it's mine.
Yes. I worked hard for that, literally. Like,
yeah. Well, I think much less of Apollo knowing this. And he went back to jail.
I feel is he out?
Like he was in jail. He was in jail before Phaedra and him got married.
Yes.
And then he went back, I thought.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Is he out from that?
I believe he is, yes.
Okay, so this man has been in and out of jail twice.
Yes, this said, so in 2014, he went to jail in Atlanta. He collaborated with others to create a money laundering scheme that included Apollo stealing over 50 identities to funnel money through bank accounts for personal gain.
Honestly, fuck you, Apollo.
Yeah.
I mean, already kind of fuck you because of, our Queen Phaedra, but still.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah, that's a lot. Those are some beautiful children, though. I will give that to him. He has good genes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful babies. The sperm donor, ill. But so
it makes me think of that read she did of Kenya.
Yes.
But what you will know. God, we didn't appreciate her the way we should have when we had her.
But I feel like we do that with a lot of our like with New York.
Oh yeah, New York.
And now I'm like, because like, don't get me wrong, Nene iconic, but so is Phaedra.
If I had, maybe controversial, if I had to pick between Nene and Phaedra, I would pick Phaedra.
Okay, so would I.
I think
But
she's
I do have a
far
lot of
more watchable.
quotes that, like Nene, I would be like, girl, you get on my nerves. I just always love Phaedra. I was always like, okay, maybe she did wrong, but I'm still Team Phaedra.
Well,
But I
yeah,
do have quotes that I do quote from Nene and gifts I use also.
that's the thing. I would be happy for her to just have like her own maybe show or something on her own where she can just like do that in isolation. But in terms of like her interactions with the group, I always preferred Phaedra.
Yes. One of my favorite. I love when people use the clip and Phaedra's like, loser. She was.
I will never forget her trying to brainwash or like gaslight everyone that she somehow had this miracle pregnancy.
Yep.
That
She's
was
like, oh no. They're like,
and they're all sitting there like
2 + 2 is ma'am. She's like, no. You're incorrect, and I am Mary. Oh, what an icon. I hope she's thriving. I wish they would bring her back. Then I would start watching Atlanta again.
Exactly. If they bring Phaedra back, I will watch Atlanta again. Yeah.
Bravo, Andy, are you listening? Probably not. So this this culminates this portion with Todd and Julie Chrisley. And so you said you'd never watched the show. You just know about their tussle with.
I literally don't even know what show they were on.
Okay. Their show is called Chrisley Knows Best. No idea how this like became a thing, but it really was just their family shenanigans. So you have Todd and Julie, but Todd, I can't remember if he was married before or just had a separate wife because he has 2 older children with another woman they're not like the son was into drugs and stuff, and he had a baby, and that baby is Chloe, who is the most precious thing on the earth. And so they most of the time have the grandbaby. They split custody with the mom. Then they have
interesting.
They have another daughter.
So sorry, I'm stuck on this.
Go ahead.
So Todd and Julie, as the grandparents, have joint custody with the mother?
I'm pretty sure, or they had full custody, but she was always on the show. So I didn't know the exact custody arrangement, but I know their son was not doing great.
That's so interesting. Okay. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Oh no. Let me see. I'm trying to find a picture of Chloe. She's so beautiful.
She's a little
biracial baby.
Yeah. These terrible people make like gorgeous children. So
yes, why?
Gotta give that to them at least.
Oh, look at Chloe. Okay, also on the show is Todd's mother, who is I think her name, they call her Nanny Faye. She's a hoot.
Okay.
And so the older son, rarely on the show. They also Todd had an older daughter named Lindsay, and she had a child, and they'd be back and forth. And she'd be like, my daddy ain't shit. And then they'd be on good terms. And then, he did this. And then mess. The ones mainly on the show are Chase, Savannah, and then this little one. I can't think of what his name is. They had a little boy.
Okay.
And Chloe. So their show, they were just like.
It's just like a family?
Yeah, a family in Atlanta. He very much gives. I don't ever like to question people's sexuality, but a lot of people assume he's gay just because of his person. Like he's very much like, I got an old Southern black lady trapped in me. Very sassy.
Like Tyler Perry, like Medea. He's giving Medea.
Medea is trapped inside of his white, his white body.
That's quite a vibe.
Yeah. I never watched like consistently, but sometimes it'd be on and I watch because like, they were funny sometimes. Nanny Faye was a hoot and they're country.
Okay.
So yeah.
How did they get the show? Do we know how they even got the show?
And I'm just like, because this says, dang, I didn't know it came on in 2014. It's 10 seasons.
Because like, with Sister Wives, you get how they got the show. Like polygamy. Or with the Real Housewives, it's like we're doing this franchise and we're like scouting. Yeah. But these like random families, I always wonder like, this is the nosy side of me that I want to know the production. Like, how did this happen? He was into real estate and like flipping houses, which is another thing you see on the show is they move a lot, which has always been like sus to me. Like, why Oh, I actually probably can answer that. As the daughter of a builder, like a
Hmm.
contractor. So we would move every 2 years because if you build a house and live in it for 2 years, when you sell it, you get to keep all of the capital gains without taxing.
Dang. Okay.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that makes sense. I understand that.
But it
Um
sounds like maybe he evaded taxes anyway, so maybe that wasn't a concern. I don't know.
so this said that it was pitched to 10 networks and 9 of them made offers to buy it. Like I had never, but maybe if you were in the real estate world, maybe you knew of him in Atlanta.
Yeah, maybe, like, somebody met him at a party or something and was
Yeah.
like, "I can get a show around you."
So I'm like, but it literally, yeah, it was just about the family. Um, and so it got popular, but I think in 2019 is when they got the charges. So as our other people, their charges were tax evasion,
There you go.
wire and bank fraud. So I was reading about theirs more, and they kind of tried to throw one of their former employees under the bus and say that he impersonated Todd and was like taking out these loans because essentially they were exaggerating their earnings so that they could qualify for more loans. And they said in over $30
Mm.
million in loans.
30,000,000?
Is the how what is the what's the bank doing? How y'all give
I mean, here's a well, no, continue. I have a hypothesis
um
about maybe what drives all these people. Continue.
yeah. So, they live very lavish lives. Like, I think it said he would go to, they live in Atlanta. He would go to like Beverly Hills like twice a month to get a haircut. This person is saying they needed like hundreds of $1,000s per month, like for all their expenses and stuff. Their kids are very spoiled and all these things. Ooh, my God. Also, this person, this employee who they tried to say stole Todd's identity, but he was giving, the prosecution information. He said that him and Todd had an affair, but that's alleged. That's alleged.
I mean, you know what? We love a bisexual king, Todd.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, come on out.
So, what's your hypothesis? What are you gonna say?
Well, I'm wondering if maybe you get swept up in having like real money or access to real money, and it makes you think that some of this like shady stuff is like quote unquote what rich people do.
Mm, I can
So
see
like
that.
it's almost like it's cheating or like it's against the rules, but because you're one of the rich people now, you're allowed to do it.
Hey, I don't know nothing about that rich people life, but they do have a different set of rules than we regulars. So
Yeah, but I think I don't know. There's also a difference between like real new money and like flash
mhm.
in the pan new money. And these people all seem to be flash in the pan new money.
Yes. And I'm like, if I was acquiring that much money, like legally, I would just be happy with
Okay, but this is again, I think the difference between us and some of these people because like my first thought is how do I structure this money into an annuity so that I can never work again?
hello.
That would be
Hello.
all I would be thinking about. I would not be thinking about getting, like, a Lambo. I would not be thinking about
No.
getting a vacation home. I would be like, "How do we put my money, structure it in a way that I retire now and never have to think
Forevermore.
about it again?"
And I am financially stable. Like
Yes.
not lavish, but I'm good.
Yeah,
But
comfortable.
literally, first thought. But
Yeah.
theirs is like, how do I buy more things and show off more? Like, I just I don't get it. But
Yeah.
so they have so at the time of their trial and then sentencing, so they still do have two minors because they have Chloe, and then their
Okay.
son, I can't think of his name, is a minor because Chase and Savannah are older. So Savannah apparently has taken custody of the two little ones,
Oh, that's really sad.
and
Are they not doing it so that one of the parents is in jail at a time, like they did with Teresa and Juicy Joe?
nope, they both went at the same time. Like they're already in there.
Oh,
And
wow.
I don't know, maybe the judge is trying to make a point because I feel like people usually don't get this much time. Like everybody else's was pretty low. Well, Apollo's was kind of longer and it should have been.
Well, it's
But
second
everybody
time.
else's, yeah, tax fraud, usually shorter and then longer probation.
Yeah.
But Julie got 7 years and Todd got 12.
Whoa, that is a long time.
Granted, I don't know how soon they'll get out on like good behavior or whatever. Like they're going to low security things, not like max, but still, I was like,
12 seems like
that seems excessive.
Yeah, I guess in my mind I think of tax evasion stuff as being in the like 3 to 5 year kind of range.
Yeah. And like most of that being probation. You're like, yeah, you'll serve a year. So, but yeah, they've both already reported. So I guess they didn't care that they had the minor children, which also again is like,
that's really sad because I feel like often they make
like
accommodations for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like did the judge have something against him? And I sometimes kind of understand when they like want to make an example, but also like no.
Well, yeah, I mean I know you and I have talked about this before, but this gets into like what is the purpose of the criminal justice system and like what
does that do?
Like who is this serving?
Nobody. Because if it's like about evading taxes and stuff, well, now you're taking taxpayer money to house them in these things when like, I don't know, I think more restitution.
That's kind of what I think. Like I'd rather them
community service, restitution, like you got to work on Habitat for Humanity or something. I don't know, but just sitting in jail for 7 to 12 years does
nothing. And you're punishing you're setting up those kids for like not good outcomes.
No, just added trauma. Like you have to go visit your parents and I
mean, again, you should pay your taxes, honestly, just from like a fairness perspective.
Yes.
Like we all should pay our fair share of taxes just to like keep the roads from giving me a flat tire every time I go on them. So like yes, you should pay your taxes and there should be some kind of like incentive to make sure that people do it. But like 12 years is a lot for tax evasion, I feel like.
People get less for SAing people.
Oh, 1000%.
Like people get, even if they're convicted, it'd be like,
or like armed robbery.
Yeah, they're like 3 to 5 years, 3 with good behavior, actually time served. Like,
well, I feel like even like second-degree manslaughter, sometimes people get like less than a decade.
Yeah, or like 10 is the max.
Yeah.
So a lot. So Savannah, their daughter, who's taking the babies or the younger children, which I thought this statement was really interesting and, kind of correlates to our everything comes back to religion. But she said, "This life is so cruel and we're all doing the best we can. I will continue to stand by my family and fight for justice. Justice for ourselves and for others. The system has failed." She said, "Recently I felt let down by God, that my relentless prayers have been unheard. But I do believe that he will use every hardship and adversity we go through to strengthen us and prepare us for an even greater purpose. So I will continue believing in our Lord and Savior. I pray for strength, hope, and love. Thank you to all of those that continue to stand by our sides. This fight isn't over." Because they are trying to get a retrial, but I'm just like, one thing to derail I cannot stand is that, you have to go through all this terrible stuff and eventually something good is going to happen. You just wait. God is coming. I'm like,
Also, like, I feel like that's more of what I would say to somebody who's like truly known hardship and oppression in their life as a way to give them hope. Not somebody who, like, my parents. And I mean, it's not her. I want to be kind to her. She didn't choose to be on TV.
Yeah.
And she's not the one who did these things. But it's like, your parents made bad choices. This isn't like, there was an earthquake. This is like, I mean, you didn't accidentally borrow $30 million. Like, that's not.
They're like, we meant 300,000. Somehow the extra zeros got in there. We don't know. Well, they're trying to get a retrial because they are sticking with they didn't do this. Somebody else did this. So,
well, it sounds like the state of Georgia says otherwise.
Yeah. So yeah, 12 years for him, 7 for her, and 16 months probation. And then they reported to prison on January 17th of this year. And it said days after the judge denied the request to delay the start of their sentences by 3 weeks. 10 Dang. So he's in Florida and she's in Kentucky. Dang. They can't even be in the same
so
state.
it's federal prison?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, wow.
She is at the Federal Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky, and he is at FPC Pensacola, a minimum security facility.
Okay, so that's interesting. From my viewing of Emily D. Baker, with my fake lawyer knowledge right now, so apparently federal sentencing guidelines are much more like standardized than state. So I wonder if like there's some sort of federal guidelines that like
you have to give them X amount.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
Dang.
Like depending on, maybe it's like based on the amount. And like $30 million is a lot. So
yes. Oh. So
what channel was that on?
That was on. I feel like
that feels like a TLC show.
USA.
Oh, okay.
It definitely gives TLC because the Learning Channel is so far from learning, Lord.
The Learning, it should be TMC, the messy channel. Like it's just a bunch of messy people.
This says, let's see, network. Oh, well, now it's on Peacock. But it first aired. Never mind, just kidding. Oh, yeah, Perverse premiered on the USA Network.
Oh, interesting.
But that's not where we stop, okay? So, scammers. We've gradually gotten bigger. And now we're finally getting to how we get into Joseph. So now we're going to Utah. We're going to cross the state.
Hitch up your wagons. Cross those plains.
Get your bonnet and let's be on our way.
Get your hand cart.
Don't pick up no caffeine. And let's go. We are going to Salt Lake City. So Real Housewives of Salt Lake, still with reality TV, because why not? Which I recently watched over the last like 2 months, caught up the third season. The reunion was just like a couple weeks ago, which it was very disappointing. But because our star of right now, Jen Shaw, was not there. So what do you know about Salt Lake City Real Housewives?
So I do know that some of them are associated with the Mormon Church, but not all. I know Heather Gay just had her, like, I think she deconverted and has like a big book out right now called Bad Mormon, which I need to watch the Mormon Stories podcast about that. Jen Shaw, I know, is scamming old ladies. And then didn't one of them marry their grandfather to inherit their church? Okay.
Yes. Well, technically, step grandfather.
That's right. There wasn't. I mean,
blood relation, but
it wasn't blood related, but it is weird as fuck. It's gross.
Mary Cosby, a mess. Yes. So there's only 3 seasons thus far. And at first when I saw that, I was like, Salt Lake City. And my friend was like, no, actually it's good and messy, which the first 2 seasons were better. This last season was like, but yes, Mary Cosby, her grandmother, they have this church. And it skipped over her mama and she wanted Mary to take it. But she's like, when I die, I also want you to marry my husband, who was not Mary's biological grandfather. And spoiler alert, all of the people she was telling, she basically made it sound like it was in her will. If I wanted to get this money, if I wanted to get this church, I had to do it. And then she's like, oh, no, it wasn't in the will. She said it.
Oh, see, I was under the impression. I mean, well, actually, I know from being a romance reader that you can't actually make people marry each other in your will. But I assume that it was like some sort of like inheritance arrangement, that it would like make more sense for them to get married. But it was just like grandma wanted it. That's weird.
Yeah, she's like, because I know she'll take care of you. Okay. That's so of course he's significantly, well, he's not like as old as her grandmother was, because he was like at least 20 years the junior of the grandmother. So like
that does make me feel a little better, to be honest.
He's not like 70 and she was like
I thought she was like 20 and he was like 65.
No. So a little better, but they do have a son. But
so it was consummated.
Mm-hmm. But she doesn't. They don't seem very happy anymore. They like to their separate time. But you're right about Heather. A lot of her storyline has been her guilt about, being a bad Mormon and like leaving the Mormon church. And she has 3 girls, and you see a couple family members on there. Like some of them are still Mormon, some of them aren't. And then Whitney is her cousin. She was also Mormon. We saw her like break her ties with the Mormon church this past season. Then we have Lisa, who is Mormon, but she's like a really weird Mormon because she owns a tequila brand. Like they have their own tequila called Vita Tequila, and people are like, "So how do you align that?" What she's like,
she is a bad Mormon. Then
I think God is like okay with it.
Well, maybe she's a progressive Mormon because like you ain't getting your tipple recommend with a tequila brand.
Yeah, because like even they're in Salt Lake City, and even when they're like at a party or something, sometimes they're like, oh my, or they went to a bar, like, oh my God, they're serving alcohol in here. So for her to own a tequila brand is very like,
no, I mean like literally the word of wisdom. Come on. That lady teared up talking about how this little old lady wasn't going to heaven because of her 1 cup of coffee, much less like some tequila.
Tequila? Come on. And then there's Meredith, she's Jewish, and so Mary Cosby, she was like some whatever evangelical Christian. And then Jen Shaw, which Mary's church.
Mary's church sounds like it's
go ahead.
Weird. I don't know.
The clips we saw, there was like, I think it was like a Mother's Day, and everyone was just like going up to the podium and just like, oh my God, Mary, you're just perfect and you're wonderful, and wow, what will we do without you? It was like there were rumors that it was like culty, that they like thought of her as God. This isn't like proven, but it definitely is strange.
It's giving very Gwen Shamblin church.
I want to watch that Lifetime movie. Yes.
Oh, I haven't seen the Lifetime movie.
It has what's her name? I was almost said Jennifer Beals. No, what's her name from Ferris Bueller? Jennifer Grey?
Jennifer Grey.
Yeah, she's playing her. I didn't even recognize her until I saw like the name. I was like, what?
I saw there was a Fundy Friday video about it. I need to watch that.
I'm behind on Fundy Friday. I need to catch up. So then we get to our good sis Jen.
Is Jen Mormon?
Jen is Mormon.
Oh.
No, Jen was Mormon.
Okay.
She grew up Mormon. She's Hawaiian and Tongan descent, but I think she spent her whole life in Salt Lake City.
That, you know what? I was wondering about the Shaw, and I was wondering about her ethnic origins. That makes so much sense. There's actually a ton of Pacific Islander Mormons. So that checks out.
Don't they have like, I don't think there's a BYU campus, but I know I was.
Yeah, no, there is. There's one in Hawaii.
It was about this football player. Oh, side note. Oh, wait, or maybe we should save that for an episode. I'll put it in my pocket. But yes. Okay. So that's where her family is from. She grew up most of the time in Salt Lake City. So, as a brown gal, they just thought she was Black and she stood out, whatever. But when she met her husband, Sharif, in college, he is Muslim. And after they were together for a while, she's like, why don't you convert to Mormonism? And he was like, why would I convert to a religion that like only, in whatever past year allowed Black people to like, because I forgot when they
1978.
Yeah. So she was like, oh, good point. And so she converted. She converted to Islam. So she was Mormon.
Got it.
She converted to Islam.
So actually, interestingly, it sounds like the Salt Lake City franchise is by far the most diverse religiously.
It is. It's very, we got a unique group of ladies.
We got some Jewish, we got some Islam, we've got some LDS, we've got some Christian Pentecostal,
in there.
Charismatic, something. Yeah.
Exactly. Very diverse religious cast. I feel like everyone is tied to a religion.
Are they? I'm sorry. Now I'm just curious. Are they observant Muslims, or is it more like cultural?
So for them? He is very observant.
Okay.
And there were clips that like her going to the mosque one time and like praying with him, but he is very like anytime they're like eating, praying over the food, and you hear like inshallah and Allah, and but he's like very about it. I kind of
love that. I love that they finally have some like a little bit of diversity there. That's great.
He seems like a really sweet. They call him Coach Shaw because he is one of the assistant football coaches for University of Utah football team.
Oh, okay. U of
So
U.
he spends a lot of time traveling for recruiting, so he's not there a lot. Um,
Is that when she gets up to calling little old ladies and asking them for their money?
well, see, here's the thing. She's been at this career for a really long time. And anytime people would ask her about it on the show, or if people would ask the other castmates, like, what does Jen do? Everyone's like, ah, I think she like collects data or something. Like, no one ever really knew what she did.
Oh.
Um, and before I knew about the case, I thought she was like in like an MLM, like high up in an MLM.
Yeah, like upline.
Yes, like
Yeah.
she got in early, because that would make sense. So like no one understood. And so it's in the second season where they're about to go on this trip to Vail, Colorado, and they're like meeting up at the parking lot of one of their businesses to get in the Sprinter van. And she gets a phone call and she leaves, and then like SWAT shows up, like the feds. And they're like, is this a prank? Are these strippers? Like, they're like, what's going on? We're just trying to go on a trip. Like, and so then they find out, like, all of these things start coming out about this
Wow.
investigation that they've been doing for all this time, and that they were looking for her. So Jen,
Wow.
I mean, these people on reality TV, just like we were talking about the Chrisleys. She had this big old place she called the Shaw Chalet, and big ugly house. To me, it's ugly. In Salt Lake, she has, of course, people driving her. She's got like Porsches, Bentleys. One of the first few episodes, she threw a birthday party for one of the other ladies. She said she spent like $80,000 on it.
I don't like anybody that much.
$80,000. There's an episode where she like got mad at somebody and like threw her diamond bracelet in the snow and just stomped off. And then the editing on the screen said like it was worth like, I don't know. I can't remember if it was $7,000 or $75,000. Either way, very expensive. Like she just was like, huh. She had like 8 assistants because they would come on the screen. It would be like Jen's assistant number 5, assistant number 6. Like all these assistants, of course. Her closet was the size of my entire house, just of, Gucci,
Lavish lifestyle.
yes, extraordinary. Like,
yeah.
So
No
people like,
taste, it sounds like.
no, that's another thing I don't get. I feel like all the things they wear that are so high end look so ugly. Do you get like a different taste for clothing once you get a certain amount of money?
Well, I think I don't know. Again, this could probably be a whole other episode, but I do think that there's something about like a certain personality wants people to know they have money with their clothing versus people who are used to having money don't really care about people knowing that they have money through their clothes as much. So like it might be expensive, but it doesn't necessarily look super expensive.
Yeah. Like I remember there'll be articles or there's been like visuals where it's like, this is what rappers do. And it had like, a black man with chains and da-da-da. And it's like, and here's Mark Zuckerberg, billionaire, and he's wearing these plain clothes, or like Bill Gates. And people are like, well, yeah, but also that t-shirt's like $250. Like, it's just not as flashy.
Yeah.
And also they all suck. So whatever. Yeah. But very flashy. I mean, most of the ladies say hair seems the least, like she still does the brands, but her house looks like a reasonable house. And she has a business, and Lisa has her, but this was like Jen, it was like, what really does she do? And I guess as her husband used to be a lawyer and became a football coach, interesting transition. But when I Googled it, it said that he could make anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 a year as a coach. So I was like, okay, well, that was more than I was thinking. But so yeah, she gets found out, or this happens on the show, and everyone asking her about it. Of course, she's very emotional. I mean, she's always very emotional. And she keeps proclaiming her innocence. She's like, I don't know what is going on, what they're doing. And her bestie, her number one go-to assistant, Stuart, basically kind of turns on her because he pleads guilty. And then so he's being used for the prosecution. and like 10 other people, because there were like a lot of people in this case because they've been investigating for a while. But so she keeps telling Ashley, I'm innocent. This is gonna be, it's proven that I'm innocent. And one of the things that makes me so mad about this story is that her dad did pass away a few years ago. She shared that on the show, very emotional. But she takes care of a lot of her family members, which is commendable.
Yeah, that's great.
You make all that money. And so, but her mom still worked her whole life. She was a teacher. She saved. She has her retirement. And so Jen, for her attorneys, she needed money, not ask, like she's like, I don't have it in cash, which I'm not a rich person. I think she needed like $1 million or $2 million for this attorney retainer. She didn't have that. I'm like, so you have all these cars, all these clothes, all this jewelry, throwaway money. And I understand having investments, but you don't have that money in cash to be able to take out for your own defense. Her mother liquidated, emptied her retirement to
That
give
is
her
disgusting.
money for her defense when she's sitting here boo-hoo to her mama that she's innocent and she hasn't done anything wrong, and why are they coming for her?
Oh, that is foul.
Like, and her
That
mom's
is
like,
low.
this is like, you're my baby and I love you. Like, if you're not, she's basically saying, like, I'm willing to put down this money and fight because you're telling me innocent to believe you. I'm like, what is my life without you here? And I'm like,
oh my God. That's the difference, because my parents would never. They would be like,
no.
you know what? I'm going to help you figure out how to liquidate
Yeah.
your jewelry and some of these cars. I will help you take an inventory. I will help you
take
find
notes.
a broker. Yes, I will help you. I will be there helping you figure out how to liquidate some of the assets you have into cash to give to your lawyers.
I got this card from my friends who went through. So
yeah.
I just was like, I hate, like, I just find that's
so disgusting, honestly. That's the worst thing I've heard about her.
The second part, I'm like, and that's on the show. It's her mom. Like, they talked about it multiple times. She's like, I can't believe you're doing this for me. And so I'm assuming, unless they lied about that storyline, but I'm like, that's how financially irresponsible is that? You should be able to come up with something. Like, I don't know how long it takes to liquidate assets or whatever, but like, you got all this bling and all these things.
I was going to say, it doesn't take that long to liquidate jewelry. I mean,
she was borrowing it all and not,
unless it was not real, unless like all the cars are leased. I mean, who knows? That's the thing, is it also could just be all flash.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. So what her job was, and it was her and many other people. So it was basically like a big telemarketing scheme, they said. And her charges were conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. So I had this article pulled up that kind of went into, because I was like, I just need to read it because I don't know. Oh my God, not you telling me my monthly limit. I hate these articles. These paywalls are ruining my life.
I mean, it's like, I want journalists to get paid, but also, come on, help us.
Like, I wish, like, can I just pay you like $1 if I want to read one article? Like, I don't want to subscribe.
Thank you. Yes, I wish that they would have that more, like the pay per article kind of situation. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially they had, she calls it direct response marketing. Like, this is how she explained her job, that they have a platform that helps people acquire customers. So when you're shopping online or on the internet, we have the algorithm behind why you're getting served that ad, is why she said. But it apparently, she generates and sells a lead list of people, and for other members of the scheme to reach out to them to sell them things that really don't exist. And so it would be like business opportunities, or like a way for them to work from home, or like, and basically like, oh, buy this package, help you, to show you how to set up your own business. And a lot of these people were elderly, or really needed money, or both.
So it is part of the, well, I guess it's not alleged because I think she pled guilty or whatever, but
Mhm.
did she, so she, it's not just that she had the leads, but she must have known what they were going to do with the leads.
Yes.
Okay.
She was, um, let's see, fraudulent schemes. So essentially that she was charged with, let's see, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, um because she knows, so she pled guilty and said, I did hurt people. So she essentially knew that generating or getting all these people's information, they basically were like collecting data and basically give it to somebody else to present and sell fake opportunities to people, and then people would pay this money and then they wouldn't get anything, and then they'd be out various amounts of money.
Yeah. So just like a
I'm
straight up scam.
Yeah, I'm mad that that one article said it so well, and then it got, I knew I took
No,
a
I think you summed
took a
that up well.
screenshot. Okay, yeah. So compiling lists of potential victims referred to as leads and sold to telemarketing companies that would target them to sell business services. Um, so she admitted to she committed wire fraud and offering services with little to no value. She said, we use interstate telephones and emails. I knew many of the purchasers were over the age of 55. I am so sorry. And so she also admitted knowing her actions were wrong and illegal.
Hmm. Well,
Hmm.
would have been
Which
good for you to
just,
just not do it then.
hey, and just like the audacity to just be like, boo-hooing, like, I am innocent. I just don't know what is happening to me. And another thing that people have wondered is like, did her husband know? Because they're obviously, it's so weird because you see her doing all these opulent things, but you never see him really flashy. He is
Mm,
either in like Coach clothes. They one time show him driving her home and he's like in a older Toyota SUV, like nothing fancy. And so like, did you know? Or like, so that's not, because he's not indicted in any of it, and he on the show
yeah.
comes across as like very great for her, and trying to read through every document with her attorneys, and it's like,
Well,
and
it
why did
sounds
she
like
change
they would
her?
have gotten him if they could have.
Yeah, so
So,
maybe he was like, I no, I be on the road, I don't know.
yeah, well, exactly. Like maybe he was just like, okay. I mean, because a lot of times you don't, especially on some of these like more technical or weird business jobs. Like I have a hard time explaining to people what I do for work. So like I could
True.
see a world where he's like, I don't. It's something to do
She's
with
like,
marketing, and she seems to
yeah.
like it.
Yep. She makes a lot of money, and then I just go on my true, very true, because it makes me think of the TikToks where people are like, I don't know what best friend does. She be work,
I
like you can't explain it. So that would make sense. But so she does have two children. One is, I think, applying to medical school, and the other one's in high school, two boys. So in
Okay,
a
so they're
part of
not
her
like
guilty,
small child or small
yeah,
children. Okay, that's good at
just
least.
so part of her guilty plea, she agreed to forfeit apparently $6.5 million that are traceable to the fraud.
Hmm.
Um,
Where's it gonna come
Wherever that money
from?
is, I don't know. Because she also, it said up to 9.5 million in restitution. Now I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I don't know where the restitution's gonna come from, and it would also be interesting to determine like if she declared bankruptcy, if the restitution would still have to be paid. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
she was sentenced to 6.5 years. Um,
Oh wow.
but I've seen mixed things online that she's only going to serve like 1.5, 1 to 1.5, be on 5 years monitored probation. But I'm not sure because I couldn't, like, I've seen mixed things. I was like, I just think that's interesting compared to the Chrisleys who got like, because hers is also
Mm.
federal.
Oh, it is.
Um, mhm. Because it
Maybe
also
she
was not like
rolled on someone.
it was like New York. And maybe because she pleaded, she got a lesser because they went to a
Yeah,
trial.
that's probably what it was, is that she pled.
Yeah, because she kind of played it like the last minute because everybody else in the case had already pleaded guilty. So I guess she was like, because she was like, we're gonna beat it. We're going to trial. I'm not pleading guilty. And then she pled guilty. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe again, it might just be my like inability to tolerate conflict that I know that I'm wrong in, but I would not have the balls to try to go to trial. I would just be like, I did it. I know.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. Like what do I need to do? Like tell me what
Let's
day I
set
need
it
to
up right.
report. I'll bring my own
Trial.
toothbrush.
Trial scares me legitimately. Like from all of the true crime that I've consumed, and starting SVU from season 1. Don't judge me. I don't know why. It's just so much luck of the draw. Like watching Emily D.
Yeah.
Baker and watching Natalie Lawyer Chick. Because I remember Natalie said one time, like, it can depend on, excuse me, if your prosecution or your defense is having a good day,
Yeah.
or the judge. Like, I'm like, or the one talk I think I sent you where the guy's like, what? I didn't go to school to be a juror. Like, I'm not going to jury duty. I don't know nothing. It's just like randos and this one judge. It just is terrifying. And I'm like, that's why I stay my black ass at home.
Well,
Because I
yeah,
need to
exactly.
be
Well,
getting
first
it
of all, it's like I'm just trying to stay out of trouble, period. But
in. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I will say I really love I mean, Emily D. Baker, I enjoy her stuff for sure, but I've really enjoyed Natalie Lawyer Chick because of the defense side of it. Like it's helped me
Mm-hmm.
think like I feel like I better understand the perspective of like what a defense lawyer is trying to do, which is essentially like force the state to prove it. Like it's not even necessarily like I think my client's innocent. It's like you have to actually prove it. That's kind of what their job
Yes.
is. So like maybe that was Jen Shaw's sort of mindset of like, but can you
Yeah.
prove it?
And then they were like, yeah.
Yeah, and
Look at
then
all this
maybe her
information.
lawyers eventually were like, yeah, they can. Like you should take a deal.
Girl, I mean, ultimately, we gonna do what you want to do, but
Yeah.
I would
Maybe
advise,
maybe take a
highly
deal since
advise,
all of your co-conspirators are ready to testify
literally
against you.
all of them. So I didn't have when she was supposed to report, but of course I tied it back to her used to being previously Mormon, because
Oh
who's the
yeah.
biggest scammer out there? The church, especially the Mormon church. And I didn't like, I knew they had their whatever, but I didn't realize how many different like sus things they had going on. Like one member at least started, I'm sure others have joined him, is suing the church for misusing his tithes. I'm
Yes.
like, yeah. And I knew they had a lot of money, but how are they hiding billions? $1 billion investment fund?
Oh no, it's they will be worth $1 trillion
No,
probably
please
in a
stop
few
it.
years.
Stop
Yeah.
it right now. I
We should do a
refuse.
whole episode about the Mormon church's
A
money situation.
trillion? Is
Yes.
Jeff Bezos a Mormon and we don't know it?
No, not even. Like they're making this money off of like people who are literally on food stamps.
Yep.
It's beyond
Like, did you ever
disgusting.
watch Escaping Polygamy?
No, I need to.
Okay, that was on A&E, and I watched that. I feel like I watched all of it. But so they would essentially, it was girls, some of them, I think two of them were sisters, and other ones might have been cousins, whatever. These group of women who had left polygamy, and they would help people like physically leave and like help them with housing and that.
Yes.
Um
I
and a
think there's
lot of
an
times,
organization called Holding Out Help. I
mhm,
think is a charity who does a lot of that stuff in like the Utah, Colorado area.
and watching it, because they have the cameras with them, so I'm sure some things are dramatized, but they go to like these communities, especially because a lot of these people were like FLDS.
Oh, yeah.
So for those fundamental Mormons who are like extra strict, and you would see so many of them were living in homes that weren't finished, or
Mhm.
were terrible conditions, holes in the floor, all these things, because they have to give all the money to the church. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so they're, I saw, I don't know if this is current or old, that they were under investigation for the $1 billion investment thingy because they hid it for a while.
Yes, I think that's recent that they're like so it came out during the pandemic that they have that 100 it's one of their investment funds is $100 billion. One of.
One of.
And I think I saw a headline recently that it's under some kind of SEC
Mhm.
investigation. But it should be because like that's tax free like So
which
here's
is
the thing. They have more money
insane.
probably than the Catholic Church. Which, when
Which
you think about the membership differential, and say what you will about the Catholic, I mean, we should probably do an episode about it at some
yes.
point. But I will say they at least like actually use their money for
Yes. Have
like
you? I mean,
helping people.
think about the cathedral. I think about the Catholic Church, and I just think about all that gold in them cathedrals in Europe, and
Yeah.
that's in the Vatican. And if they got more than the Catholic Church, that's sickening.
Yeah.
That is disgusting. The thing I saw about the former member who was suing them was they were saying one of the many ways they're not using their tithes in the name of the Lord was to bail out two of their profit companies. And I'm like, why you got companies?
Yeah.
That aren't just building homes for the houseless. That should be a company that's not for profit.
Yeah.
Billions?
It's so, yeah, we could do a whole thing about their money because like all of their except for the current prophet and I think like one or two other people, all of the current quorum of the 12 are former like business people or lawyers. Like it's a business.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Just like I don't know if did you watch Keep Sweet, the new thingy on Netflix?
No, I did see a lot of like YouTube reactions to it. I just like I haven't been in the right headspace to watch it because from what I can tell, it's like really sad.
Yeah. I mean, I knew a fair amount because I watched Escaping Polygamy and other things. I knew about like Warren Jeffs and stuff, but like they talk about like that business side of it and like how much they've exploited their own members. Like they build things and they build them so fast because they're using these young boys and men and not paying them or paying them very little. And like, so that's a whole thing. And the last thing I'll say on this is that I saw something that because they're everywhere. I saw something about something in Australia, Mormon church, and that the Mormon church in Canada moved $1 billion out tax free, and that's legal. I'm just like, tax churches today.
Well, I'm okay if they can demonstrate that the reason that churches are supposed to be tax-free, at least here in the US, I don't know how it works other places, is that they're supposed to be doing good for the community. So like the reason it's tax-free is the same reason we don't tax not-for-profits is because like they're doing something for the community that otherwise the government would have to do. So like I don't have a problem if churches can demonstrate that they're actually serving their communities.
Yeah.
But like, do you remember that TikTok I sent you of that like Christmas play where they were charging money for it? And it was like a dude playing the drums, like flying over the audience in this like arena of a church.
Yes.
And it's like light show. It's like that should not be tax-free.
No. Or I don't know, when you buy a jet plane, a private jet, or you have this mega compound, whatever. It's just so infuriating because of all these different churches, but just thinking of the Mormon church alone, having that much money and one investment firm, group, business, whatever, how much they could do. Just like,
they could eliminate hunger worldwide.
Like, all these things you say and all these heavenly Father would be really happy if that's what if you actually took this money and did something with it, because what do they call it if they have the celestial kingdom? I forgot what it's called when they don't. There's like
the terrestrial kingdom.
There's like something, because Heather Gay has made a joke about like that's where I'll be.
Outer darkness.
Yes, outer darkness. That's where they at. And I'm just like, the real scammers here are the churches, and this, especially the Mormon church. Looks like they're leading the church scam ring. They're at the top.
And it's really sad when you think about, I don't know. I've seen enough Mormon Stories podcasts where people have been like, I didn't have a job, but they said I couldn't afford not to pay my tithe because of the blessings I would be missing. So I, was on food stamps, but I was still tithing however much a week to the church, or like and it's just like, oh my God. And like they were like taking tithing dollars out of Africa to like all the African churches that they've created. It's just like,
I hate when I listen to Mormon stories and just hearing, like, I knew because I had like a friend in middle school Mormon. I knew about the missions and that they went all over, but just hearing like, oh yeah, I was in Chile and I'm just like, it just makes me like, it's bad enough in the States, you know, going around and make people being like, oh, this is the only true way, but going into other countries and cultures, oh.
And the only place that they're still growing is in like Africa. I don't know. It's distasteful to me. Because I can like get down with, I know that there are a lot of religious organizations that do truly great work and like in the name of their God, and like that's wonderful.
I feel like it's always the ones who really don't have as much, or like a smaller church or a small group, like truly out here doing things, using money for good purposes. And it's always the ones hoarding the wealth that can do it all and are like, no.
Well, and like, I think if the average, my guess anyway, is that if the average Mormon understood how much money the church has, because I've seen that on Mormon stories too, where like a part of their deconstruction journey was finding out, and they'd stop paying tithe because they were like, it made me sick thinking about them having this much money. And I thought they were using our money for feeding the hungry or like whatever, and they're just hoarding it.
Yeah, and spending it on themselves. I'm sure they live luxurious lives. Because I know a big part of it from listening to Mormon stories is that you don't ask questions. You know, you're not supposed to look up things. You're not supposed to ask questions. Don't second guess. You just take it, the gospel as it is.
Yeah.
Because once they start asking questions or do any research, that's when they're like finding the seeds, like and you're like, wait. Yeah. Joseph Smith did who? What? I think it's it'll be interesting to like talk about the Catholic Church, and then in comparison to the Mormons. Really, I knew of Mormons like from middle school onwards, but still in my mind, the Catholic Church was like dominating, and maybe membership. I don't know, because Mormons have spread everywhere.
Well, no. That's what's so interesting about it, is that there's way more Catholics than there are fewer. The number of active Mormons is roughly the same number of Jews in the world. It's like 4 million.
Yeah. And what are Catholics?
Hundreds of millions, surely. So like, that's part of what's interesting. Yeah. How many Catholics are there? Let's find out.
Because then how many, because, you know, there's a lot of large Islamic countries. So like how many, that would be interesting to look at the numbers like that. That's nuts.
The Catholic Churches form a denomination within Christianity, and with around 1.3 billion believers worldwide, are the largest Christian group.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. And you know what, to be fair, I'm not sure that if you included all of the property that the Catholic Church owns, that they would have less money than the LDS Church. I don't know. But it's the fact that it's even roughly comparable is like insane.
That's shocking because, yeah, like obviously, look, I'll be messing with the church, but I love the cathedral. I'll be like, let me go in it. Yes, I just saw one, but let me go in it anyway.
Well, yeah, at this point, like these cathedrals are like, they're art, and like,
yes, some of them is inlaid with gold, the paintings, the organ. Oh, I love me a good organ, Lord.
Oh yeah.
Because I Googled approximately there's 1.9 billion followers of Islam. So that, and really you have the Mecca is that in Saudi Arabia?
Yep.
But obviously the home of the Mormon church is in Salt Lake City, right? Like that's their biggest, even though I thought the Holy Land was in Missouri. I don't know, these people just everywhere.
They have a few different holy sites across the United States.
I'm sure they got a good one in like North Dakota or something. Maybe that's like interest is Celestial Kingdom.
We got upstate New York. We got Kirkland in Ohio. We've got Nauvoo in Illinois. Independence, Missouri. You know, slowly making your way. Yeah, making your way. the only the best.
Yes.
Highest desirable real estate. Yeah.
It is. Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, so we should do some more about that. But I like
Yeah.
I like the unifying theme here. And I'm very excited I finally know who the heck the Chrisleys are
The Chrisleys are. Yeah. And scammers. Wow. My only scammer is Joanne. So Joanne do you not know Joanne the scammer?
No.
Oh my god. They're not actually a scammer. It's just this guy who had like this personality online called Joanne the Scammer. It was really funny.
See, recently
but that's the only one I approve of.
My mantra is everything is a scam. I'm like making a video about it.
Okay, so, I'm ready for that because it is like I don't even wanna. My friend sent me a TikTok going into like something like Karl Marx, and it was explaining, and I was just like I already knew it, but the way he was explaining it just made me more furious. And I'm just tired.
We're ready to rise up and seize the means of production any day now.
Did I send you the TikTok today that was it the Wall Street Journal just came out with an article that's saying to save money, you should skip breakfast?
I don't know. I've not been on TikTok really yet today.
So it went from breakfast is the most important meal of the day to save money, skip breakfast. He said, I'm ready. Where are the guillotines? I said, I'm ready. Public stonings, bring it back. I can't take it no more.
It's raggedy. Yeah.
And I, am fortunate to be a dinkwad, part of a dinkwad household.
I wish.
Dual income, no kids with a dog, for those of you who don't know. But like, I just can't imagine people out there who have children or a single parent.
No idea how you afford kids.
Or making, I don't even make a lot of money, but making less than I do and having kids and
yeah, no,
we shouldn't be. I mean, it's just common. We shouldn't be suffering like this and like choosing like, hey, do I eat or do I pay my power bill?
Yeah, like the world has never had more prosperity, and still there's this much suffering. It's absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. I got my first bill for my treatment this year, and out of pocket for me is $2,500 for the first treatment. I get them every 6 weeks.
Why? Is it?
Well, before insurance, it was $12,000.
And just the amount of, I think we talk a lot about student loans, which are real, and I have them, and I ignore them.
As you should.
Medical debt. The amount of medical debt a lot of people have. Like I've just known of so many people, I heard stories, so many people being like, they could be in life-threatening situations. They're like, do not call an ambulance.
Yeah.
Like how, like that's what you have to think of when should be worried about your life. You're like, do not call an ambulance because I will not be able to afford it.
Yeah. It's insane. But anyway, as usual, all roads lead to Joseph, and all roads lead to late-stage capitalism. Those are really
literally. I mean, you have to add that in. Those tabs never close. Everything is a scam. Don't make me come up with a jingle.
I know. It's my new mantra.
How long do we have to wait for this video?
What?
How much longer do we have to wait for this Everything's a Scam video?
Oh, I'm gonna film it, I think, in a couple weeks. So here in a few weeks.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I have to like work up to it because it's gonna be a rant. So
I imagine, and I'll just be there yelling in my kitchen. I know that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed our tabs today. My tabs.
I enjoyed your tabs today.
But Andrew will be like, how many do you have open? I'm like, mind your business, okay?
It's like she finally she has 200 open. She gets to close like 30 of them right now.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm finally to rant about John Shaw because that has been, I'm just been seething and now it's out. And
Well, I'm glad that you've gotten that off your spirit. And I'll have
serious.
to I think I know what tabs we're gonna talk about for me next time. And it will not be hard for you to figure out how all roads lead to Joseph, but it has been I've been trying to figure out. I may have to bring back my whiteboard because there's like a tree that I'm trying to understand of how
Ooh,
things are related. So,
I love a visual.
yeah.
I feel like we have so many things. We're like this and this and the Heather
Well,
Gay.
we will never run out of topics, I feel like.
Never. It's just getting around to filming them.
We're nosy people, so there will always be things that we're nosing into.
There's so much mess. I can't help it.
No. Well, Jess, where can people find you?
Me, right now I'm not reading, but if you would like to watch various sometimes book tangential videos on the YouTubes, it's just Jess Owens. How original, I know. On Twitter, it's -- said by Jess because someone took my name. I be tweeting or retweeting. Instagram is also said by Jess. That's a little, and the same name on yeah. I do a little something.
Yeah, I love your TikToks.
Yeah.
It's relatable. #relatable content. Yeah. And you can find me at Books Like Whoa at the YouTube and not Twitter anymore, but you can find me on Instagram and Goodreads and TikTok.
Mara like whoa.
Mm-hmm. I'm there talking about books and living my best life. I don't know. Whatever you put on social media.
And alien parts.
Yes. I'm in the middle of a very good series right now of that.
Ooh.
But yeah. Well, this has been our open tabs. We're now closing them.
Close a few.
Click. Bye, guys.